Welcome to another episode of Positivity. I'm very excited to be here with Joe Farkas, a coach and somebody that recently just started his own podcast. And I personally love to bring on someone like that, congratulate them. Many of the people that we've had on the podcast here are young to the entertainment and the business, yeah. So I'm excited to bring him on and hear, in a sense, why he opened the podcast, but also to discuss a topic that's very, very, in a sense, controversial now, and that comes in light of recent suicides that people, it became a little bit too difficult to hide at this point. And I don't think we have to focus on suicides necessarily, but to focus on these people that are feeling really low in life, how to go on, what to do, who to talk to, where does that come from, like why does it happen, what's going through their mind, is it common that a normal person, a regular person should be, feeling that low and get to that place, or is it something that you're like born with, a little bit to dive into it. And then, of course, for that person that is feeling now at his lowest, and he's having these negative thoughts, and he's thinking of the worst, to give them the chizik as well. So, introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay.
What do you do? Why did you start this? And then we'll get into the topics.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me. I am a push to eat, a regular guy.
Okay.
Lived my life like everybody else. And at one point in time, I felt like I didn't feel it. I was just running after my own tail. Every day I chocolate liliv and esrig, and we had matzah, we had everything. But I didn't really feel it. So at one point in time, I decided that I also was involved in certain relationships that did not work out for me. I found myself being in a place that I didn't like where I am.
Marriage or work? Because I heard you say
work,
in the past relationships.
It was work, business. You see, what happens is that you have to understand when it comes to, because my specialty is narcissism.
Okay.
When it comes to narcissistic and codependency relationships, it's not only one. You're attracted to the same thing over and over again. So, which means that if you are, let's say, in a relationship in business with somebody, you find yourself being a codependent, you'll go to another relationship with a friend, and it's also going to be codependent and narcissistic relationship, because the codependent is attracted to the narcissist on a tremendous level. And the narcissist is attracted to the codependence. It's a terrible shidduch. It's a poisonous dance. And sometimes the person who's not educated, if you're not aware of what's going on, you're like, what is going on over here? But if you start to identify yourself, and you see your patterns, and then you learn about there is such a animal called narcissist, so then you start seeing. So I saw this in my life, and I said, I have to do something about it. So I did, and I worked hard. I did a lot of inner work, I put in a lot of effort and research, and I read about it, and I really put my mind to it. And I learned the term narcissist and codependency. And since then, I helped myself, and I got out of it. And also, I'll tell you, what is very important, and we're going to get to this idea with suicide, is that the Rebbeinu has to come into your life. You have to live a life with meaning. If you don't live a life with meaning, you're going to run after materialistic things. I love cars, I love nice houses, I love everything, but I bring in the Rebbeinu Shalom into the car. I bring in the Rebbeinu Shalom into the house. If you don't live a meaningful life, you're going to end up and not understanding what life is all about. It's going to be about cars and money and friends and materialistic things, but it doesn't fulfill you. It does not fulfill you. Money will not make you happy. And people say this, let's see first, have money first, and then tell me if money's not going to. You can say it, they always say that. But it's not true. Money, the Rebbeinu Shalom, if you live with the Rebbeinu Shalom, that's what I want to get to, is that if you live with the Rebbeinu Shalom, and you get up in the morning, you're a grateful person, money's going to come to you. People eat dip every Shabbos. There's not one Shabbos that a person went hungry. It's just that we're looking at other people. We're looking for images.
Yeah.
We care what the neighbors are going to say, what the community is going to say. So that is very important, because you have to find yourself. You have to love yourself from the inside.
Right.
And when you love yourself from the inside, couple that up with spirituality, which is very, very important. This is
Yeah.
how I live my life, and it changed my life 250%.
Right.
And you can live in Gan Eden in this world. Some people walk around and it's Gehenna. And obviously, with the suicides that is going on, this is mamish a pandemic. It's serious business for a person to actually do something like that. But if you want to live in Gan Eden, there is a way how to live in Gan Eden.
Right. So that's really, somebody was asking me, my friend was asking me, like, I told him I'm going to do a few podcasts regarding the suicide situation. And then he's like, your podcast is called Positivity. This is a negative subject.
Right.
Like what? So I said,
Just the opposite.
so right. Like at the end of the day, the outcome of this is going to be the positivity.
Of course.
I truly believe, and I've seen it for myself on my journey, that I've seen the lows, I've seen the highs. I haven't seen everything yet, obviously. And in a sense, I'm excited. Let's see what happens, right? The highs and lows and whatever. But I have noticed what it means to come out from living in the dark, living in a place where you feel like you don't know what your next day is going to be like, waking up and feeling like, why did I wake up? Going to sleep and feeling like the day was just so hard to survive and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I was ever suicidal, but at some time I had many times where for months I was questioning, like, what is the point of life? Like, but I just had a strong belief that things will change, and it did, Baruch Hashem. But now I feel like when I talk to people that are struggling, I feel like I'm living such a good life. And part is just because of my consistency that I do. Like I have a very big fear of falling back. So that fear pushes me to be consistent with the things that I do, like journaling, cold plunge therapy, the coaches that I have, my connection with Hashem, davening, all these things that I have on a day-to-day schedule is because I have this fear of falling back. And that's okay. I feel like it's okay to live that way. And in a sense, anxiety and fear is what protects us in our life. But I also know what it means to live a life of joy, excitement, every day waking up and saying, okay, what are we going to do today? And I just feel truly blessed. And I want to bring people to that place. That being said, I don't understand all the struggles. I don't understand why are people struggling. And I think that that's where you perfectly come in. As a coach, certified coach, you deal with people every day. You have this perspective. You have this perspective on life. What is happening? Why is it that I get hundreds of messages of people struggling? Like, what is it? What's the struggle? You have a podcast called the Struggle Podcast.
Right.
Why are they struggling? Can you explain to me
So
in one
I'll
word why they're struggling? Is it like outer circumstances? Is it inner circumstances? Is it their belief patterns? What's up?
I'll explain it to you. So let's talk about suicide first. So the first fact you have to understand is that nobody wants to die.
Okay.
The reason why a person is committing suicide is because he wants to stop the pain.
Right.
It's not that they're looking forward to die.
Oh,
Nobody
wow.
wants to die.
Okay.
It's about stopping pain. So it's nothing different than alcohol and drugs. It's just on a different level, which means that person. So in suicide, there's also two types of, there's intentional suicide and then there's unintentional suicide, which is a subject for itself, which means that if a person overdoses, you know, they're playing with drugs and all these other things. And there's, you know, it was laced with fentanyl. It's crazy what's going on the street. So that is an unintentional one, which is sad, and it's a subject for itself.
Okay.
But we're talking about the intentional ones. There's also two parts in intentional ones. There is mental health, which if this is the case, if you find somebody who has a serious problem, which has, you know, a mental health problem as far as medically, that person needs professional help. That person, you know, there's ways how to do it. People think parents or people don't want to bring up this subject. They don't want to talk about it because I don't want to give ideas to the person. They say it's not true. Talk to the person because you can save someone's life. If you feel that somebody's withdrawn, he's not doing what he has to do, he's sleeping and he's not going out and he's not excited, he's not himself, you can ask about suicide, it's not a problem. But here's the thing. So if a person needs help professionally, medication and stuff like that, you need to do this because this is crucial as crucial can get.
Okay.
Then there is depression and anxiety and people who feel, believe it or not, the biggest reason for suicide is isolation. Isolation means that a person feels lonely. Now, what is lonely? Lonely can mean everything. If a bucher is thrown out of yeshiva and he feels that he is he's alone, nobody wants him. The community doesn't want him. He has no self-esteem now. He lost all his self-esteem, and he feels lonely. Nobody needs me. Nobody's checking in with me. Nobody wants. This is a huge pandemic. This loneliness, and it will kill people.
Yeah.
And we're not careful enough about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking yeshivas, schools. People are taking kids and not taking kids. Even in everywhere, kehillas, it's as a punishment that goes back, ostracizing, throwing somebody out, putting somebody in chayrim, is going back in the years and years for a punishment. So isolation is huge. But here's the thing: what I'm trying to, when I teach people and when people talk to me, is it's all rooted in self-esteem. Loneliness. If a person is lonely, the reason is that he forgot who he is. He forgot what he brings to the table. He forgot that he is the Rebbeinu Shalom's child. You see, friends is very important. It says, "Kenai lechu chaver." You have to be part of a community. People say there are loners. We don't need anybody. I'm dependent. But all this stuff is very nice. Community and your shield where you go to and you want to be, acknowledged and all these things. This is first, where's the self-esteem? Where's the self-esteem? The self-esteem comes first. So now this is how a person has to live, because he's afraid, he's people-pleasing because he's afraid his friends are going to not accept him. If a person has self-esteem and he knows who he is and he's okay, if he looks in the mirror and he says, I like what I see, I'm enough, I'm good. This is the way the Rebbeinu Shalom makes. But here, the Rebbeinu Shalom comes in. Because if you have the Rebbeinu Shalom with you, and you have a clear head, and you know, I have a job, I get up in the morning, what am I doing? There's no such thing, you're bored. What do you mean you're bored? What are you doing now? What do you do the next hour? What do you do? When you do that, you start working on yourself, you're magnetically going to pull the people to you. Because people want to be next to a positive person. People love it. So the idea is not to sit and have no self-esteem and look at other people, look at social media and see, ooh, this guy has a nice car, this guy has a business, only I'm not doing it. This comes from a very bad place. And people don't like it. So loneliness is a big part of suicide. A big part of suicide. But the root problem is the self-esteem. Everything is in self-esteem. The same as I'm a huge advocate drugs and alcohol is by me the biggest no-no ever. And weed is normal now. People are like, well, you're crazy, weed, big deal, it's this, it's that, everyone. But what's the reason? The reason is you're running away from something. And that's suicide on a bigger level. On a bigger level. Because these people did not see light by the end of the tunnel. But there is a way. There is a way if you change the way you think, if you start accepting yourself, and it really does not matter where you come from, and it doesn't matter what your parents, it doesn't matter what another person thinks. It matters who you are. You bring something to this. You need it, and every person adds something to this world. If you didn't find out what you add to this world, then go find out. This is what it is. I'm adding something. Yeah. Everybody in a different way. Not everybody can get up and talk. Not everybody can do certain things. But whatever you can do in your little circle, another thing which is how do you build your self-esteem? People, is the $1 million question. How do I build a self-esteem? I want to have a self-esteem. This world is a world of giving. It's a world of growing. If you are here to take, you will be in a circle, you will run around and buying materialistic things all day. And I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if you have a second home, a third home, you will be miserable. Yeah. Miserable. It doesn't matter, but all these things, after you have self-esteem and you have a second home, be my guest. But not before you have self-esteem. That shouldn't be the reason that you're building your self-esteem on. You know what I have, you know what I own, doesn't matter. Same as a pair. You see, that's why marriage, you cannot be a bigger giver only in marriage. A parent to a child is the biggest giver. That's what the world is all about. That's why it's so important. So when someone is married, he is automatically a giver. If he's married and he knows how to navigate the marriage right, he is a giver. You give to your children. It's about giving all day, giving and growing. That's all it is.
Right.
But the second you don't know that, and you're all about looking at other people, comparing yourself to other people, then I'm a loser.
Right. So just to sum up a little bit what you said, I asked you why so many people are struggling. You said there's a loneliness epidemic, which I 100% agree, and that is coming from them not even being connected with themselves because they don't believe in themselves. So that's why automatically they are not going to attract more people. And the way to attract more people is to build your self-esteem. And the way to build your self-esteem is to notice that it's not based on the material things on the outside. It's to notice who you are on the inside without anything. You being naked is good enough, and you can just see yourself for you.
Right.
Now, this is where I have an issue, okay? Which, my good friend, Mechul Schnitzler, he used to talk about this all the time. He's like, what are they telling these kids in Chayder and Moisdes? And everything got better, so I'm not going to go backwards. We're going forward.
But that's what I said before. There is no, in the curriculum, especially where we come from, or especially, and I speak to a lot of people. In the curriculum, there's two things missing in our curriculum. Like, I'll say it the way it is. There is no education about the Rebbeinu Shalom, and there is no education about self-esteem. They'll talk about Berchas HaPayres, Shulchan Aruch. They'll talk about the Gemara. They'll talk about the shirt, the right, the left. They'll talk about very important things. But what does it do for me as far as self-esteem? What does it do for me when I have a struggle and I want to talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom? I want to feel that I have somebody to talk to and someone has my back. And it's okay. And I don't have to live up to the Joneses. Or I don't care what you have to say. But you saying or thinking about me a certain way means nothing to me. Literally nothing. So these are two subjects that you were mentioning that are not taught. Because it's a given that there is a Rebbeinu Shalom. But they start, there is a Rebbeinu Shalom, so now let's learn Gemara.
You realize that if someone can't talk about the Rebbeinu Shalom, that it obviously means that they don't have a relationship with them.
So I was asking somebody once, and I was asking, why are the kids not being taught in Chayder about that there's a Rebbeinu Shalom? If a kid has anything, he has a problem, he can't share it with anybody, or he wants to pour his heart out, and he's crazy grateful for the Rebbeinu Shalom, and why don't they teach this to the kids? He says the Malama doesn't believe in it.
100%.
Because he wasn't taught.
And I can tell you why, by the way. I read this, there's a book called Conversations with God, and he gave me the best analogy on this. He said that the reason people don't want to develop a relationship with God is because they would much rather take a version of God that somebody else created and just follow that. So when they tell you in Chayder that God is the version of this long white beard sitting on his chair and just watching everything and wanting to punish us, it's easier to believe in that than to go believe in your version of God, which is the truth, that he is a loving Father, accepting, and no matter what we do, he's here with us. A lot of what Hasidic Shurim talk about, by the way, but this version of God, they also don't teach us. But the point is that it's a lot easier to believe in a version than to create your own version. And I encourage people to find their version of God, because God to everyone is different, just like a parent.
We have to become Bolshevas. We have to become Bolshevas again. We have to find Hashem on our own.
100%.
Because we're not. That's not what we're talking about. You're not going to find this in schools. And that builds self-esteem on a tremendous level. Because if a person knows that this is meant to be, I'm here for a very short period of time. I'm going to be in my Daladamas. I'm not asking you to turn over the world. In your Daladamas, become a giver. Become a giver to your wife. Become a giver to your kids. Become a giver to the people around you. This is what fulfillment is. This is meaning.
100%.
If it's not going to be meaning, you're going to run after, I don't know what, to people who don't know what they're doing. You're embarrassed, or you want to impress people who don't know what they're doing either. They also don't believe in anything, and they're also running around because they're embarrassed of their neighbors. So you're not living an authentic life. To live an authentic life means build this relationship. We were born into this. We're Yidden. Get a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's important. If you have this relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom, you live a meaningful life. You know why you're here. You know that this is going to come to an end one day. And you're trying to be the best version of yourself. Every day, I'm not saying you're perfect, but every day you have to ask yourself, am I better than yesterday? You spoke
Yeah.
a little bit less Lashon Hara today than yesterday, great. But the idea is have a plan, have a picture. People half of the people's problems is their image on the street. I'm a loser. I failed at this. So what? So what if you failed? Start again. If you take out the people from the outside from the equation, you'll get the people going.
Yeah.
Because this is huge.
Yeah, it's beautiful that you're saying that, and nobody ever spoke about it so specifically. There's a girl that I talked to, and Hasidish, from a very fremma Hasidish background, and she was telling me that despite all her struggles, like growing up and whatever she had with her family, and is she created this relationship with God, and she doesn't see anything else.
Right.
Like there can be menhogam. All these things are very nice. It's
After,
very nice tradition
after you have a relationship
But
with
sie
the
sagt
Rebbeinu Shalom.
mich, "Gwonish badem mich. Ich bin connected mit Hashem.
Those are the happiest people.
I talked to him, I cried to him, and I was so inspired. I was like, wow.
This is the answer to everything.
And also, like, how much pain did you have to go through to realize that?
Yeah, that is unfortunate. That's going to happen. People find their Rebbeinu Shalom in pain.
But I feel like if I can only tell all the people that are messaging me, because I get the messages from young kids that are telling me, give me a reason to live. And I don't know what to tell them, honestly.
The reason is that they don't know who they are.
Correct.
They don't feel they bring something.
But if only I
to
can
the
tell
table.
them, right, but if only I can tell them, like, just talk to Hashem.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
And I once had that. I'll never forget. There was this, a girl messaged me also, a young girl, and she was like, I'm struggling. I don't have anybody. I don't know what to do. I said, let me give you one simple trick. It has worked for me every single time. I want you to talk to Hashem and ask him for a sign.
Right.
The next morning, she messaged me. She said, I tried it, and it worked. And I hope she's doing well. I haven't heard from her ever, but I'm just saying the point is that to all these people that are messaging me and struggling and stuff like that, I wish that I can, the one trauma that I can remove, it's not usually the parents, it's not usually the surroundings, it's usually it's called a God wound. They told them something else about God, and my personal therapist has also told me this many times. Every time I tell her that I struggle with my self-confidence or in relationships, she says, Eli, you simply have a God wound, she calls it. And it helped me a lot. It helped me notice. And she told me what happens is, and I think you're going to like this, is that when you have a God wound and you don't feel the validation and love from God, suddenly you find yourself looking for that validation from all the other people in the wrong places, like you said, drugs, alcohol, or people. She said specifically people, because you're not connected to God. So if you can't take His love, you need to take love from other people.
People ask me always, how do I talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom? You see, I'm very much attached to Reb Nachman's teachings.
Yeah.
That helped me a lot. Mama saved my life.
Beautiful.
So the idea is that I tell people sometimes, Reb Nachman says it, if you don't have what to say this. Rebbeinu Shalom, I don't have what to say. I can't open my mouth. I don't have a relationship with you yet, and I can't. Can you help me open my mouth? That is the best tefillah ever to start. But I'm going to tell you how in Breslev, in Zbadadis, an easy way, for people who want to listen, of how to talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It is a 3-step process, and it's dynamite.
Enlighten me.
It works like this.
I'm listening.
Very easy. You find a place, of course, to talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom. The best is if you can go in a place in the woods or whatever you find. But if you're comfortable in a room, and it's not meant for nobody to listen to. It's meant for you and the Rebbeinu Shalom. Pour your heart out to the Rebbeinu Shalom. But it's a 3-step process, and it's very, very clear and simple and clean. The first thing you get up is gratitude. Now, if you want to get into gratitude like crazy, you will not stop. Because if you get up and you tell the Rebbeinu Shalom, that's how you get up, Moida'ani. And then when you get up, and the first thing is, I had a good night of sleep. I also went to the toilet and everything worked. And then I also have, my ears are still working. My eyes are working. These are 2 cameras that is unbelievable. And my brain tells my feet when the red light comes on to brake. If you want to get into it, you will see that every body part in your body is working. You start giving gratitude to the Ribono Shel Olam that you have children and you're married and you're under a roof and you ate and you're not hungry and the Nazis are not here and you have police, the ambulance, everybody's here for you to serve you. If you want to get into gratitude, you can go crazy.
Right.
So you have this list and you train. It's an exercise. Step number one is gratitude. First, before everything, the sun, the trees, the grass, gratitude for everything. That's step number one. Step number two is you tell the Ribono Shel Olam, listen, I want to be better than I was yesterday. So it's a form of tshiva that means I could have been better yesterday. So now I'm going to try to be a better. I'm trying to be a better. So the first step is gratitude, and the second one is being humble. You know what? I know I can be a better person. I spoke a shtickle lashon hara over here, over there. I'm going to try not to tomorrow. So it's a shtickle tshiva, comes with humble. And the third one is not to ask for materialistic things. Ask for self-confidence, ask for your mental health, ask for a minna, ask for betuchen. Because when you have that, you already have everything. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank.
No.
Because if you believe that what the Ribono Shel Olam wants from you, then I want this. And that's it. We want the same thing. We're not arguing. You see, suicide is fear. Suicide is giving up, is telling the Ribono Shel Olam, you don't know how to run the show. I know how to run the show. If I would be here, I would be gone. You just gave up on the Ribono Shel Olam. Your relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam is severed because you have fear. So in your daily routine, you have these three steps. You thank Hashem, humble yourself, and then you ask for the real things, not for the money, not for the second home, not for fun. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
I want self-confidence. I want menichas hanefesh. I want peace. I want my mind to leave me alone. I want to feel comfortable. You do this every day, and then you do it in your own language, and you do it on your own. Everybody has their own life to do it. So let's say if you want a shidduch, you tell the Ribono Shel Olam, listen, I want a shidduch, of course. I want a wife, and I want all the goodies that comes with marriage. But I really want to be a giver. I want to do the right thing. I want to be fulfilled. So help me make my mind, put in das in my mind that I should settle myself, and you know what, this is the one. And I believe in you because it's easier to make a decision that way. You see, it's a huge. Rome wasn't built in one day. So if you start from the beginning and you have this relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam, you tell the Ribono Shel Olam, listen, I trust you fully. So if this girl comes into my life as a shidduch, and I have 15 doubts, I can't see myself because I know me, and I'm gonna get very nervous with her. Put it in my head. I'm letting you do it. Surrender to the Ribono Shel Olam. Surrender completely. That is the way to do it. That's how you start talking to the Ribono Shel Olam. And then you have your own personal relationship. It's nobody's business. You make business with the Ribono Shel Olam. I always say if you go to shul in the morning and you put on tefillin, that's where the sales start. Make sales in the shul. Then you'll go out, stuff are going to come. But this is the starting point. By you telling the Ribono Shel Olam, I'm not starting my day without talking to you.
Wow.
So that's the only way to do it, and that builds self-esteem. And when everything falls away, there's no anxiety. You throw me any problem, I throw it straight back to the Ribono Shel Olam. It's not like I don't have any problems. It's not like I have a life just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Plenty on my plate. But I throw it right back. If this is what you want, I ask all the time, what's next? I don't cry. I don't blame. It is what it is. I accept it. And then things fall into place.
Yeah.
So there is light by the end of the tunnel. The suicide is all about thinking. The mind is a powerful organ in the human body. It's the motor of the car. You can have a BMW, but if the motor is gone, it's gone. You can have a nice car, but it's gone. Mm-hmm. The mind can take you up to Shemayim, and it can also bring you down to the ground. But the gift that the Ribono Shel Olam gave is that you can control it. You can control the thoughts. It's an exercise, but you can't have two thoughts at the same time. This is a fact. You can't think negative and positive at the same time. So you can choose to think positive. So if you do that, you make that exercise for the same amount of money. It doesn't cost any money to think positive or think negative. And you have the power. The Ribono Shel Olam didn't send you here. It's a war. Go out, fight it like a dog. That's not what life is all about. It's just the way you think. So certain things that you were wired with when you grew up, and you were not that fabric. You don't fit into the box. So change it. Look at life as Gan Eden. You can be those little short years that we are here in this world. You can be a Gan Eden. There's no reason to walk around in pain. There's no reason for that.
Well, changing is a big word, and I agree
Correct.
that some people have to change their mindset. I think for me personally, everything changed when I changed my mindset, noticing the certain old patterns that I had and how I want to change. But I want to ask you a question for the person that is struggling right now. And it's, as I'm saying the question, I'm thinking of some of my friends that I'm consistently helping that are really struggling. This one with a family situation, a health situation, you know, single life, and they have this belief that they are a victim, which is a conversation for itself, by the way. Like
Yeah.
if you truly love and believe in God, then you know that there's a reason why you're single. But again, for them, their struggle is still the fact that they are single. People struggling with money, which is so difficult to
Which is
understand.
huge.
Like it's just huge. It's like the Gemara says like there's like if you struggle with this one thing, you don't feel like a human being. You
Yeah,
can't
only
be there for
choshev
your wife.
kemes.
Yeah, like you can't be there for your people around you, but you can't even be there for yourself. You feel depleted. My question is for that person struggling right now. In your opinion, what is their first step? What do they do? And then I want to get to the question of how can one support a person like that. But let's talk to the person that is struggling right now. What is their first step?
The first step is to evaluate themselves. You take a piece of paper or go look for help. Go sit down with somebody and tell yourself, I want to be productive. I'm here not by mistake. I want to be productive. So you start your day. How do you conduct your day all day? And you start by what time are you getting up? Are you eating right? You go step by step because there is a system to this madness. There's a Torah. The Rebbeinu Shalom did not send you down and told you, go, knock yourself out. Figure it out.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
Right.
There's a system to this. So
Right.
you sit down and you start evaluating piece by piece. I can't get up in the morning. Question is why? When are you going to sleep? Let's start there. What's bothering you? I'm blocked. I can't. I don't know. This is black. Why is it blocking you? So you peel away layer by layer, piece by piece, and you start changing your mindset. But the goal has to be self-esteem, because every problem you bring me, I'm gonna find you self-esteem. Everything.
And I once heard the best word, like somebody was saying that the real way to build self-confidence, which is a little bit
Right.
different than esteem. Esteem is really about who you are. Confidence is a little bit more an
It's a-
outer layer.
yeah.
But the best way to build confidence is the consistency. Doing something
Right.
over and over again, keeping promises to yourself,
Correct.
builds confidence.
Right.
That's why there are
And
challenges.
you're not looking
Yeah.
for there's no score. You don't need to get validation from the outside.
Right.
I had here on the podcast Sonny Perlman. Sonny Perlman works with addicts.
Yeah.
He has Our Village, Our Place in Brooklyn. He's involved with all these stuff. He said something very smart. He was trying to explain what addictions is. And I'm talking about any addiction, drugs, alcohol, whatever. So he was saying that we all have love tanks. We all need love, just like every car has a gas tank. We have a love tank.
Okay.
The tanks are empty. So the addicts, the people who suffer, the people who are, suicidal, the people who are they're not productive, they are looking for love from a wrong place, which means he's saying that the healthy person that you see on the street, that has a 80% full tank. 20% we all look in stupid places, on the phone, and everybody has their own little addictions. But the addict, the actual addict, the guy who was struggling that you were describing, he is running low on love tank. And what he is doing is, he don't even think about it. So what is he going to do? Is drugs, alcohol, and if someone doesn't see any more light by the end of the tunnel, and it's so bad because they're thinking sometimes, people who are committing suicide, they're thinking, I'm going to show them a message. Now they're going to need me.
Wow.
Let me see how they're going to react now by the Levi. It's a twisted way of thinking. But all it is thinking. It's all in the mind. I'm not saying in severe cases. I'm talking
Right.
about cases that people are trying to fill their love tank. That's
Right.
basically what it is.
So, okay, so now my question is also, how does one identify somebody that's struggling? And once you know that they're struggling, how can you show up for them?
Right. So here, this is very important. A person needs to know, first of all, we have to be sensitive to other people. Absolutely, you have to feel other people. The problem is that so many people shut their feelings off completely. They don't care. They're busy with themselves. They look, like I explained it in the video, they look at the world the way they look at the world. If the world is a bad place, if the world is a war zone, they look
Yeah.
at it, who is going to win? That's it. So from these people, you can't even expect anything. There are people who do have feelings, who do have open, their emotions are open, and if they see something, they should reach out. They should, give him a compliment. Giving is not only giving tzedukah. Giving means if you give a compliment to somebody, you tell them it's not like, I give it. It's also the biggest tzedukah ever. That's called the being a giver.
Right.
A person can be home and make a phone call or send a text and give a compliment for somebody. All of a sudden, he's a giver. So here's the thing, but you have to realize one thing. Everything has to have a balance. A mother cannot blame herself that her child, let's say, committed suicide. Maybe I did something wrong. I missed it. It's not your fault. Again, I'm coming back to self-esteem. The mother needs to know her position in life. And she did her job 250%. And if something happened with her son, it's not her problem. And the same thing is with friends. We can't fall apart. That person who did what they did made a decision, and it's their responsibility. For the people who are alive, we have to try to be a better person. So be sensitive. If you see someone is withdrawing, if you see something is wrong, try to do whatever you can. But again, blaming or taking full responsibility, you can't. You see, a healthy marriage, you know what a healthy marriage is? When two people have a self-esteem and two people are independent, not one dependent on the other. Like the husband thinks, oh, I'm helping my wife. This is not a case to help. This is not a Rahmonis business.
Yeah.
Both people have to be solid. So the mother has to be solid. The father has to be solid. Everyone has to be. When you have solid individuals, then we can help each other. Some people fall down, you pick them up. But everyone is responsible for themselves. So a person who sees he's spiraling downward, that person should go for help. That person should wake up and say to himself, you know what? This is not working for me. Not let it go more.
Right.
Go for help yourself.
Yeah.
There is light by the end of the tunnel.
Right. I love that. I agree with that. I think that once a person is pretty down and low, I think
Should run for help on all fours.
They say at that point it's impossible in a sense to pick yourself up. Like
True.
you need somebody to help you out.
Sometimes, yes, and if you're aware, and that's beautiful, and if the bunch of them helps that you're surrounded with people who feel you and they want to help you, but understand something. You cannot be dependent on another person's, not on a compliment. It's all nice and dandy, but everything after the self-esteem. First, know who you are. Know who you are. Make a system. Give yourself a life. Try to become a giver. Try to grow every day.
Yeah.
Give life meaning. Don't just go through life and I don't care, this, that. It doesn't matter. Even if it's a mess, some people mess up their lives badly, You can still start new. It's not the end of the world. Over there, I had a journey, messed up.
Yeah.
Some people have children they don't see. And some people, problems, because of divorces and stuff. You can still move on. This is not a lifetime punishment. This is not Gehenna.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility, especially if you have a family or you have kids, to be a productive giver of a person to make this life better.
Right. Beautiful. One of the things that I notice in this industry, and we can step away from our community now for a second and say that in the whole world we're struggling with this. There is a loneliness epidemic. People are feeling alone, and it's because of many parts social media. It was supposed to be connecting us
together, and it's separating us.
Exactly. So what I noticed for myself is that I made a very strong commitment to myself about a year and a half ago, when I was personally struggling, depressed and anxious and stuff like that, to have connections with certain people on a consistent basis.
Okay.
So whether it's therapy or coaching or certain friends that I check in with them every Thursday, every Tuesday, I'm very, very consistent with that, because I notice that every time I talk to a friend, even just asking, hey, how was your day? And they check back with me and they say, you know, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your day. That enough is validation that at least one person cares. I think it was Simon Sinek that said, like, if you can, he said psychologically, if you have 3 people that are texting you good morning, then you're going to be good. Your brain is going to process that you're okay, that you're not alone, and something like that. So in a sense, I made it a habit for myself to do that. And I have certain people that I message every morning, good morning, have a wonderful day. Just that feeling that they are needed. My question is, in our community, do you think we have a problem with relationships, with friendships, with going out? Is there something missing in this aspect, being that this can be such a big help to bring people together so that they don't feel lonely?
Okay, let me explain.
And what can we do about it?
It's very good, very important what you said. You have to realize one thing, but this is very, very important, and this is the foundation. What you said is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, to check in or someone checks in with you. But again, you're being dependent on that. You're building a community of people who are going to text themselves and feel good, and God forbid that text doesn't come one day. That's not what we're looking for. We want to be good ourselves. We don't need nothing from anybody. Now, I'm going to tell you something. It sounds harsh, but it's reality, and I speak the emes. I'm not going to tell you masses.
Yeah.
There is no such a thing as friends. If a person has 1 or 2 who will have you back, I'm talking about acquaintances is something else. I'm not talking about acquaintance. I have a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah.
Friends. People throw around the word friends.
Right.
There is no such a thing. Because the world, everybody is busy, and rightfully so. It's okay. I'll accept it. Everybody is busy with themselves. It's a fact. If it narrows down to partners, business, they'll stab you in the back in 5 minutes. I love people. I do love people, and I have very good friends. But the reality, the harsh reality is, this is the harsh reality. There's no such thing as friends. Forget about it. Don't build anything on it. It's paper. It's not solid. It's not foundation. You be the best friend. That's all you can do. I am going to build myself up. I'm going to know what my name is. I'm going to know where I'm coming from and where I'm going and what my mission in life is. Now, whoever wants to join this train can come, and I'm going to be his friend. Best friend. But I'm not going to wait for you to call me and tell me good morning. And this is the key. Self-esteem. Self-esteem, self-confidence, self-love, self-preservation. That is the key to everything. A person who has that does not need alcohol. Not by the Kiddush Shabbos, and not only Shabbos, and not only Friday night, and not Thursday night, and not Wednesday night. Doesn't need it. It's a fact.
Yeah.
The reason why people drink, and the reason why is not the bottle. And nobody wants to kill themselves. Nobody wants to. Everybody wants to live. People will pay billions of dollars for doctors to let them live. Who wants to die?
Wow.
Dying is, the pain is bigger than what's going on here. I need to stop it. It's like when you need painkillers in the hospital. You'll do anything in the world. Give me the painkillers. I understand, I'm an addict. Because I had kidney stones once. And I'm like, give me anything to stop this. And that's what these kids are doing. And women from mothers with children commit suicide. It was not long ago. Now,
Right.
crazy stories. But again, there's nobody to blame. Everybody has a different story. It's not like, well, I'm not going to paint one brush on everything. But if you want to narrow it down, your thinking process is messed up. And it's okay. Nothing happened. But there's ways how to turn it the other way.
Wow. Yeah, there's, and I am also working on that, by the way, to be there for myself, to truly give myself the time that I personally need. Because I think what you just said is very, very powerful. And I think that most people have a struggle with doing that. Like being their own best friend, it's not easy.
Correct.
Like
you have to be perfectly fine with who you are, the way you are, in the position you are, in the place you live. You see, some people think if I'll move away, I'll be much happier.
Yeah.
that's the troubles go with you wherever you go. You
Right.
can go to Aruba, it will go with you on the plane,
Right.
and it'll take you straight to Aruba, the same problem.
Right.
You have to be first know who you are.
Right.
Know who you are.
Right. And another thing that I noticed, and I had this thought today, just this morning, like in the mikvah, I was thinking that when we talk about friends, you're saying we don't have friends, but I also noticed that many people call themselves friends,
Correct.
and they give people such bad advice. Because I happen to agree with what you said. We don't have friends. To me, it's like I noticed to myself how many friends and people I cut out of my life. And that made me notice exactly what you just said. Like, we don't have friends. All we have is ourselves. Because I was thinking,
The cutting out part is
About-
extremely important.
right?
Extremely
Because I
important
noticed
they
this
will bring you
person.
down.
Yeah, I noticed this person that I had. Sometimes it's an uncle, sometimes it's an aunt, sometimes it's a family member. It can be even your own brother or sister that will just completely deteriorate you. Will tell you like, don't buy a house, don't go into business,
Yeah.
don't get married, don't see that girl, don't see that boy. Like what? We have to understand that some of these people are just really, really bad for us.
Very bad, and the intentions are so bad because they are wired a certain way. Let's say they're non-believers. I
Yeah.
call them strictly non. I don't care if he goes a stramel or he goes with the tzitzis. It means nothing to me.
Okay.
It's a non-believer.
Yeah.
He has a wiring in his head that he wants to, and you ask him if it's a decision on a shidduch or something.
Yeah.
He gives you a decision that has his own intention fully for his image or whatever, what he thinks is right. Means
Yeah.
nothing to do. It has nothing to do with you. I am the type of person, and you see, I happen to think that the Rebbeinu Shalom created us that way. We're sponges. We take over from other people's feelings and emotions, and I feel a room in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But in some people who are these macho people, they're no feelers, they also feel.
Yeah.
They just push it to the side. And some are negative, and some in a different place. Like I told you, their mindset's completely in a different place. People don't understand how important to cut this negative people away from you is. This is, I'm telling you, the most crucial thing in the world. Because these people are going to bring you down to a level that you're not going to believe. They will hold you down like they would hold you underwater, just for whatever their reason, it doesn't matter. But cutting people out of your life, negative people, negative comments, it doesn't matter who it is. Because they have their own problems to deal with, and they didn't deal with it, they're moving it on to you. And you have to identify that, very, very important. And then cut them out, let them loose, and move like a train. It's so important. Because people think, it's just, he's calling me, his text. I don't want to hear about you. I don't want to know about you. I don't want your way of thinking. I don't like it. It's negative. You're out.
Yeah.
Your goal has to be, I let in positivity. That's it. If you bring an ounce of negativity in my life, you lost the privilege. If say, I pay for my phone,
Yeah.
and I'm letting you bring me down,
I love
you're
that.
out. I have people who are blocked on my phone more than a nice number.
100%.
Block them.
Yeah.
It's great.
I just encouraged my one of my close friends to block his girlfriend, somebody that he knew for a very
If it's
long time.
negative and it's bringing you down, out.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, and then that's also one of the reasons why, like, I personally shut my phone at 7:00. And like I heard this concept like from Lipa Schmeltz. It was like WhatsApp is like it's your dining room. Like you would never allow people to walk into your house every time. WhatsApp is exact same. People send you a message and they can change your mood now,
In 5
like one way,
seconds.
in 5
In
seconds.
5 seconds.
So I just 7:00. I shut my phone. When I can handle it the next day, business hours, I'll listen to your message. And you can say whatever you want at that time. You can yell at me. You can attack.
It's one thing to be positive, and it's another thing to get the negativity out.
Yeah.
It's just as important.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
it's
going
about
around being
boundaries.
positive all day.
Right.
Very cute.
Right.
But what about the negativity?
Right. But
Did you
it's about boundaries.
Absolutely,
Also,
absolutely. And you have to have, and these people put a fear in you. These people have a control over your mind, but really know they're paper tigers.
Right.
They look like a tiger, but they're paper.
Right. So people are going to be very curious to know a little bit more about you. So I want to know. So what do you currently do? You can share as much as you want.
I am in coaching.
Okay.
I do coaching, and I just
One-on-one?
One-on-one. I do one-on-one, and I have a lot of plans. I speak to Hassan. I speak to Carlos. I speak to couples. I do marriage. I do anything and everything that has to do with, You see, in coaching, the difference from a coach to a therapist is that the coach deals more or less with healthy people who are stuck in a certain place. So if you need to go from A to B, that's what we're going to do. If there's some serious issues, like the person really has some serious problems, then I refer him to a professional.
Yeah.
But if a person is healthy pretty much, he knows what's going on. Because you see, the nice part about coaching is that we look at the clients that they know what they need to do. They know. I'm not giving any advice, because the second I give advice, then that's what I would do in my house. But people don't like it. I mean, people like, they say advice is like your children. You like your own the best.
Yeah.
You don't want people else's advice.
Yeah.
So what we do is I try to open up that person. I ask him certain questions, and that person gives me the answer. I'll ask long enough till I'll find the answer, and then I will hold them accountable. I like, what's blocking you? Let's do it. What's holding you back? You fell. Let's get up. I'll try to put some in his head how to think. I never try to help him think, but the answer is his. See the difference? So in therapy, people need therapy because they have trauma from before or whatever they need. Very important. I'm a big proponent of therapy. But my job is I'm taking people, business, whatever the case is. But really, relationships, my specialty is to build self-esteem, which means I take a codependent, a person who is looking for validation from the outside, and I kill it. So I am a nightmare for a narcissist, because I educate the codependent.
I noticed that in our conversation, how you corrected me a little bit, and you are right. My closest friends will tell me, Eli, you don't need anyone. Because I often say, I have hundreds of friends, and I do. I have, I open my phone in the morning, there's like 50 messages of people, hey, checking in, just want to say hi.
Right.
But you're right. It takes away from me needing the me.
It's not being content.
Yeah.
You're looking for something else.
100%.
You're looking to fill, to give, and to be a good future husband, a future father. This is what life is all about.
Right.
This is
Absolutely.
give meaning to life. That's all.
And talk about the struggle podcast. So let me give you a compliment.
Yes.
I told you on the messages, I bumped into your podcast, the one you with Reb Shlomo Ehrlich, somebody that I do know for many years.
No, he's great. He's something else.
He is. I always say. I told him many times. It was like if Klal Yisrael has to choose a Rebbe, they would probably make him the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael. He's just a good person. If you look at his record and stuff, I don't think there's anybody that has a bad word. And I referred people to him, and he always helps them and whatever.
Special guy.
But I watched your podcast, and I was like, you have such a good way of listening, not interrupting, asking the right questions, and your voice is like better than Nachum Siegel.
I never knew that I had a good voice.
Yeah, so congratulations on doing the podcast. How did you get to it, and how did you start?
It's just that was me. I always loved people, and I always loved to talk, and I study human behavior. I love it.
Okay.
So I used to do this a lot. I mean, the people who know me in my little circle,
yeah.
I used to do this anyway. I used to talk to people, and people talk to me. And one day I decided, listen, let's go out to the public. YouTube is huge.
Yeah.
Maybe people are going to benefit from it. This is my giving.
Right.
See?
And you're getting lots of views.
Yes,
for
very,
a beginner,
very
I don't know if you have a lot of friends or just people shared it probably.
No, people shared it. I'll tell you, this is a family business. I have my son-in-law. He is you see, every coach needs a coach.
Okay.
So his name is Yankee Rosenberg.
Okay.
And he is my coach.
Oh, wow.
He pushes me. He makes this thing work. Wow. And my daughter is doing the editing. So it's a family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe. It's a team effort of 3 people.
Beautiful. And thank you for hosting us here in your studio in the Struggle podcast.
And it's beautiful. It's very exciting, and we're going places. And
you built this from ground up.
Everything. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we did this ourselves. Wow. So that's what the struggle is all about. What is not a struggle in life, but the idea is that you can make it Gan Eden Atach.
Right. Can we already know who you're having next step? Matzah Shabbos? You give out
every
Matzah
Shabbos we're coming, so I have people lined up. I have Y.Y. Jacobson coming.
Wow.
I have some big names.
Well, after he's on your podcast, tell him that
Matzah Shabbos we're going to have Manis Friedman is coming out this Matzah Shabbos.
No way. Did you get him here or you went to him?
He was sitting here.
Wow.
And it was great. I'm telling you.
Manis, I love him. You did it in English probably.
But you got to listen.
I love him. I had him on, by the way.
This one is one out of the park. Yeah.
Did he talk a lot, or you got to ask your questions?
No, I asked him questions and he
Yeah.
spoke. He's a
Such
tremendous, unbelievable wisdom that this guy has.
He does have wisdom, and he understands our generation too.
Not
I
stop.
remember asking personal advice regarding my dating, and
Yeah.
at that
He's
time,
very, very direct, very straightforward, and he's funny.
Wow.
He's one of a kind. So I get to meet special people.
Yeah.
Because these are my role models. These are the people that I study with,
Yeah.
study from.
How many minutes in? 54. Very nice. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I feel like we covered a very nice
Yes,
wide range.
yes.
Like the people, somebody told me, I have to remember who it was. Maybe it was my friend Moshe Young. He said, Ellie, you have to start making a summary after you finish a podcast.
Right.
And I feel like from this podcast, I take out that a simple reason why people are struggling and a simple solution to that, which is finding yourself again, building up that,
And
that
also connecting to the Rebbeinu Shalom.
Connecting to the Rebbeinu
Spirituality,
Shalom.
if a person is not connected, it's just very, very difficult to live life. Because life is not a bowl of cherries.
Right.
And we don't understand a lot of things, and we will never understand. And we usually we have a nature that we want what we can't get.
Yeah.
We love that. But that's not what life is all about.
Oh.
What life is all about is about surrendering. Let your roots and be the Rebbeinu Shalom. You should want what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants for you.
Right.
It's very interesting. I'll tell you a story. I was just Shulam Arash, he was here in Monsey for some kind of he had some kind of tour. He was here, so he was telling a story about a person who came to him and that she can't have children. A woman said that she can't have children. So what did he do? I mean, he's famous for this. He told her, go home and say Mizmor L'Soidu, say thank you Hashem 40 days,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, you'll be okay. So she went home, this lady, and she said Mizmor L'Soidu, and she said 40 days she was working and doing a thing. After 40 days, the husband or whatever, she comes back and she says, it's not working. What are you talking about? Mizmor L'Soidu. Mizmor L'Soidu, 40 days.
Yeah.
He sends him back and he tells her, tell her that she doesn't have a munah. Doesn't have him, she doesn't believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom. She says, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Put on Shabbos candles.
Yeah.
I do everything by the book. Mizmor L'Soidu. What do you mean I don't believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom? He says that you said thank you Hashem. There's a big movement of thank you Hashem, Mizmor L'Soidu, with all these things.
Yeah.
You used it as a segillah to get what you want. Give up. Tell the Rebbeinu Shalom, you know what? You don't want to give me kids right now? I'm good. Give it to me in 6 years. If you want 10, give it to me in 10. If you want 2 months, give it to me in 2 months. You saying thank you Hashem because you have a segillah, you're moving the Rebbeinu Shalom around.
Yeah.
You're telling him, you're maneuvering the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? He says 9 months later she had a baby. He was the sandik. That's what he said. He's not lying. He said he was the sandik. He told the story.
Wow.
But what's the point? The point is that don't fight the Rebbeinu Shalom. Don't fight. Give it up. So when you give that up, you give up all the garbage around you.
Right.
Everything that's bothering you besides that falls away.
Right. Beautiful.
Just
I love
get
that.
connected.
I think that's what I did, me personally, with the fact that I'm single, is I really did that. I think I surrendered to the fact that he has a plan.
That's it.
And anytime anybody tells me something, whether it's my grandparents or my uncle or whatever, family,
It doesn't matter.
I always tell them God has a plan. Thank you. You're telling me, Eli dashen ver nachusen. I tell them back, God has a plan.
Correct.
So
You have to do ishtadlus.
Yeah.
We know that ishtadlus is not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's not made for. It's not. If I'll do the ishtadlus, I'm going to do the business.
And it has nothing to do with my actions.
It has zero to do with you, but you have to do it.
Right.
As the Rebbeinu Shalom, can you give me the cycle and the power to make a decision that this is the right one? And when you make that decision, there's no looking back. There's no if, maybe I did a good mistake or not.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
It's the Rebbeinu Shalom.
Right.
As soon as you hit that, then it can't go wrong.
Right.
Bring it on.
What's your advice? The last question. Relationships and money, I think, are the two things that people either want to get a relationship or have a better relationship, or they just want to have either find a job or have a better job or have more money. How does one attract?
Relationship is very simple. You are a mashpia. You are not a makabel. That's it. In any relationship, if you're in the relationship to receive, pack your bags.
And how does one know if they're wanting to receive?
Because why are you, let's say if you are a friend with somebody and you're a friend with somebody and you don't give anything, you just have a pleasure by being a friend for whatever the reason is. If it's a girl, if it's whatever the reason is, what do you do? What's behind it? What's behind this relationship? Are you helping that person or are you getting something from that person? Is that person giving you some kind of pleasure while you're next to the person, or you feel like,
Can it be a little bit of both?
It could, but it has to, you see, the way it works is very interesting. The Rabbeinu Shalom is a mashpia, right? He's the giver. We, the people, are the receivers. But you know what our job is? And when we are the receivers, we have to become givers now. So in a relationship, it's the same way. You go in as a mashpia. Then if you get something back, great. There's nothing wrong. You give it. But the idea is the focus has to be in in every relationship. You take a look.
Nice.
Marriage, whatever. Take a look. You will see. Is there a mashpia makabel or two makabel? What's going on over here? Are two people receiving? If two people are receiving, that's a problem.
Okay, and money. How does
Money
one?
is this. Money is.
What's the money energy? What's the secret?
The money is like this. The money is be authentic. Find who you are. Also has to do with self-esteem. The best salespeople have good self-esteem. So the money will come to you. Let's say if you see you don't sell shoes, you sell yourself. That's all it is. In sales, they tell you this. You can sell chairs, shoes, audio. You can sell whatever you want, but it's not what you sell. It's the way you sell, because you sell yourself. So you will be successful as long as you go in with the right. With the right mindset, and you come in, I love this product, I know this product, and you sell yourself. You're responsible, you have a reputation, and you want to build a relationship for the future. Money will come.
Confidence.
Money will come.
Very nice. Okay. Guys, make sure to check out the Struggle Podcast. I'm going to put his link to his YouTube channel in the description. And if you want that, can we put like your number? Or you have an email if somebody wants to work with you. We'll put all the information in the description.
So you can reach out.
Yeah. Reminder to please like the episode, share it with a friend that can enjoy, subscribe to the channel, and also you can subscribe to the membership. It's $10 a month, and it really helps me out. And there's exclusive content going out every Motzei Shabbos. Besides the fact that it just supports the channel and it just really means a lot to me. I truly appreciate each and every individual that is a member. It just shows a closer bond and helps support the cause of the channel. So thank you so much. Also, shout out to my very own company. I didn't take sponsors for this episode. Because it's the middle of the day, so I'm just going to talk about Weber Media. If you have a business, a company, a product or a service that can benefit from Instagram or LinkedIn to expand your business and brand awareness, we would love to help you do that by setting up your account or taking over your existing account and posting cool content to reach a wider audience. So the link to my personal WhatsApp is also in the description, and you can reach out over there. You can sign up to see my WhatsApp status as well. Thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great conversation. Thank you, guys.